Really appreciate the conversation. What a day. We have covered a lot of ground, from the data and diplomacy of climate risk to the stories of peace building, women, peace and security, trust and persistence that gives this field its heart. I'd like to now introduce our colleagues from the German Federal Foreign Office to give closing remarks. Marcus Hicken, who is the Director for Energy Diplomacy and Climate and Climate and Security, as well as Anka Feldhusen, who's the Director for Civilian Crisis Prevention and Stabilisation. So over to you for our final comments.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, partners, guests, friends. The 7th Berlin Climate and Security Conference is coming to an end. And I don't know how you feel, but I think we had a day full of very, very rich discussions here on stage in the, I think, 10 breakout sessions, and not the least in the margins at, during lunch and in the coffee breaks. And I hope you feel that we managed to create a space for dialogue and a space for learning. I can at least claim for myself that I took the challenge from the MC and I met new people. So I had the pleasure, for example, to meet a military expert from France working for the European Union, a minister from Africa, and His Excellency, who was just on the panel with us from Ecuador. So, and thank you very much to all of you three sharing your insights also with me personally. So once more, it became clear today how deeply climate change, peace and security are connected. And all of the fantastic speakers gave many great examples for this nexus. And many of you shared also with us, inclusive and innovative solutions. And I hope we all can use them in our daily work from now on. Let me, for example, take water. Water is really at the epicenter of climate change, whether it's droughts or floods or access to water, lack of access to water, water management. All of these water issues can lead to vulnerability and conflict. But we heard also from the minister from Somalia that water issues can also facilitate cooperation and he gave this example how shared vulnerability in this case of flooding led to or brought communities to work together. And we also discussed with our colleagues from defense and security how they analyze and how they assess the ever-growing impact on climate change of their operations. But don't worry, I'm not summarizing the entire conference now. Let me instead just maybe give two key takeaways which I found important. The first is trust. Building trust is absolutely essential for climate resilience. We cannot achieve lasting solutions without local ownership and without addressing the causes, the underlying political and social factors. And this argument was also so aptly met by the representatives from the Peace Building Fund. And my second conclusion or takeaway was we really need integrated, holistic solutions. We cannot silo climate action, peace building, or development. They all require three things: a collaborative approach, a commitment to equity, and that we recognize that peace is always cheaper than war. And that's why we also here in the Federal Foreign Office want to promote integrated solutions to best address climate and security risk. And this is why I'm so delighted that my colleague and friend Anka Feldhusen is with us today and ending this dialogue. Anka, please.
Thank you, Marcus. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, you see us two here. We are the embodiment of integrated action at the Federal Foreign Office. The partnership between our two departments, the one on climate diplomacy and mine and stabilization, has really been instrumental in integrating the climate security nexus in our work. We even share colleagues, so we overcome the silos in the Foreign Office. That was long in making, I swear. Many of the insights that Marcus just talked about, that you shared today, will really guide our work moving forward. Not only on a project level, but really also on an international policy level. I had really interesting glimpses of it during a lunch today here, but also a side event yesterday. But even a dinner, a completely different dinner last night at the Finnish ambassador, we talked about water and how important water was. But I'm particularly glad that we have had the chance to hear about the latest evaluation results from our Weathering Risk initiative. This afternoon, yesterday, at one of the numerous side events, the project partners showed us that environmental peace building actually works. But also, as you said, that context matters and that our projects need to be locally informed and as inclusive as possible. And one of the areas where we do this is Somalia, where we have been working on the peace building between local communities for a very, very long time. I remember that because I was head of desk for that region. That was more than 10 years ago. And now we've added this climate issue, to the climate aspect to that. So I can really assure you that Germany remains committed to integrating the climate, peace and security nexus in our project implementation. And the most recent example is for sure our new engagement for conflict prevention and climate adaptation in the Mandara Triangle at the Horn of Africa. And I'm really glad we're able to do that. Internationally, we can observe that, unfortunately, climate, peace and security does not always achieve consensus in some of the established forums, and we felt that at the Peace Building Commission that we're chairing this year, we weren't able to put the climate, peace and security nexus in our program of work. At the same time, however, we see that there's growing support from many partner countries. Our UN group of friends on climate and security, for example, now includes 79 members, and that is a lot. And that is also why Germany's candidacy for the UN Security Council in 27-28, we will prioritize addressing the threat of climate change and its global implications for peace and security. And then there is another aspect, that's the debate around finance for fragile and conflict-affected settings. That shows that many actors in the room face similar challenges. It also emphasizes the value of collective approaches rather than collective approaches, so whether through sharing best practices, exchanging innovative solutions, or just understanding diverse perspectives better. So, as we conclude this, and I think it's only us standing between you and the glass of wine that was mentioned, I really want to encourage you to stay a little bit more, to mingle, continue this day's inspiring conversations, and strengthen the networks that we have been building over the years in this important sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anka, and thanks to all of you who are still here. But I have to give a particular thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. I have to give a particular thank you to Janani and the entire wonderful team from Adelphi. Without all of you, it wouldn't have been possible. But this is also true for all those behind the others behind the scenes, the technical teams, the caterers, and not the least also my colleagues at the Federal Foreign Office here. So please join me in a round of applause for all those who work to make this possible. So the last two comments The first one, I hope to see all of you again next year, next fall, at the next edition of the Berlin Climate and Security Conference. And secondly, have fun at the networking reception. Thank you very much.